generations that have maintained genuine links with the land. So I think Mr. Morris has the world topsy-turvy. It's just a few banana republics, or in this case, South Sea Islands, who don't support the Palestinian right of return.
Okay.
Let me just turn to a second point.
This is pure nonsense. I mean,
Mr. Morris wears often many different. Dr. Morris often wears many different hats. So in the hat he's wearing this afternoon on this program, he's saying he supports the Clinton parameters of 2000. But let me read you some of his other hats. Mr. Morris has said that David Ben-Gurion in 1948, his big mistake, and now I'm quoting him.
But this isn't relevant.
His big
what you're reading now is not relevant to the questions.
No, it's very relevant. Dr. Morris, you're wearing many different hats.
We were asked about the current
negotiations. Let's see some of your other hats,
All right, gentlemen, let's keep moving forward. Please, gentlemen, please, let's keep moving forward. Benny Morris, I'd like to ask you a question.
Peter.
All right, Norman, real quick. Go ahead, because I don't want to waste all our time just talking over each other. Go ahead.
Okay. Ask me the question you want. I don't want Finkelstein reading various quotes from various places, which have no relevance to the question at hand.
Dr. Morris cannot
filibuster. There's no relevance at all to what Finkelstein is trying to introduce here.
No, Peter, you can't allow him to filibuster.
Okay,
That's not right.
I'm not filibustering. You're introducing nonsense quotes.
I need clear points from both of you.
Talk about the current situation.
I want to talk about. I want to talk about the Goldstone report right now. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about right now. Benny, I noticed a few days after the invasion.
I don't think that's right, Peter. Peter, you're allowing him to filibuster, and I don't think that's right.
Yeah, but Norman, we're wasting way too much.
We're wasting
time on Benny Morris instead of the subject.
I want to get back to substance, gentlemen. Benny, you wrote a few days after in the New York Times that praising the highly efficient air assault on Hamas. Okay, then we have the Goldstone that comes out, the Goldstone report. And he said Israel launched, quote, a deliberately disproportionate attack designed to punish, humiliate, and terrorize a civilian population. What's your opinion of that report?
I think it's unbalanced. I think that any Western army facing terrorists and guerrillas who hide behind a human shield, behind civilians, inevitably will use disproportionate force and will cause civilian casualties. And this is what the Hamas also wants, because then it can project it to people like Finkelstein and Goldstone as if Israel is attacking civilians. But Israel actually quite efficiently knocked out the Hamas's infrastructure in Gaza. Civilians were killed. I don't think Israel deliberately targeted them. I don't think Goldstone is right about that. I think this is a lie in his report. It did kill civilians, but this is what happens when terrorists launch attacks on Western countries from behind civilian shields.
Okay, Norman, respond, please. You wrote a book on this subject, on the Gaza war.
Right. There is, as I said earlier, there is also an extensive documentary record on what happened in Gaza. More than a dozen human rights reports came out. So let's look at the record as against Dr. Morris's fantasy. All the human rights organizations agreed. There is no evidence that Hamas engaged in human shielding in Gaza. You can look at Amnesty International, its report, 22 Days of Death and Destruction, and it goes very thoroughly through the record, and it concludes there is no evidence that Hamas engaged in human shielding. Number two, no, Mr. Morris, you really have to let me talk. You can't be so rude. Number two, Dr. Morris says that Israel very effectively knocked out what he called Hamas's infrastructure. So let's see what that infrastructure consisted of. It consisted of direct attacks, intentional attacks on on Palestinian hospitals. It consisted of intentional Israeli attacks on 23 of 28
in the basement of one of the hospitals.
Dr. Morris, you have to let me speak. Peter, is this right?
You're telling the listeners something which is untrue.
I'm quoting.
Well, I mean, Benny, to be fair,
Dr. Morris.
He's giving his assessment of the Goldstone report. I asked you your assessment, and I'm asking Norman now. Obviously, they're different.
Okay,
Peter,
fine.
Peter,
go ahead, Norman. You got the floor. Go.
Peter, that's not even correct. I'm not giving you my assessment. I'm citing you the findings of all the human rights organizations. Israel attacked 23 of 28 of Gaza's cement factories. It attacked the only operative flour mill in Gaza. It attacked the chicken farms in Gaza. It sent in tanks to roll over the chickens, killed 100,000 chickens in Gaza. Now, I wonder, Mr. Morris, do you think those chicken farms were part of Hamas infrastructure? Do you think the flour mill was part of Hamas infrastructure?
It depends if they were Hamas
when
chickens.
Israel dropped white phosphorus, on Al-Wafa Hospital and on Al-Quds Hospital, were those hospitals on which Israel dropped white phosphorus, a substance that reaches 1,500 degrees? Was that Hamas infrastructure, Mr. Morris?
Okay, can I now say something?
Benny, go ahead. We're running out of time. Very quickly, please.
We know that during the campaign, the 3-4 week campaign in Gaza, the bulk of the Hamas leadership, military and civilian, hid in the basement of one of the hospitals in Gaza. And did so knowing that Israel would not attack the hospital and get to them. It's not fantasy, this happens to be truth. And Israel did not attack that hospital, as it didn't attack any hospital in Gaza, as you know. Whether there were Hamas gunmen inside the chicken coops, I don't know, and you don't know either.
Dr. Morris, I read all the reports issued by Israel.
Gentlemen, we've run out of time, and I'm afraid we didn't accomplish very much here. Sorry, Norman, here. Many thanks to my guests today, Norman Finkelstein and Benny Morris, and thanks to my viewers for watching us here in RT. See you next time, and remember, CrossTalk rules.